So number 5 is to use a well-designed risk assessment form. It sounds so basic, right? But
yeah.
like, it's already a lot. There's a lot of steps that come with risk assessment. So make it easier by having a nice form.
I know you like an Excel spreadsheet. Is it something like that? Is it something as basic as that, just done yearly?
Yeah, I think it can be. I think it can be. And then you can just kind of like break it down. What department is this risk in? What is the particular risk? Why is it a risk? Which kind of folder in our risk library does it fall under? And then who is responsible for it? So I'm jumping into step 6, which is identify risk owners and responsibilities.
All right, let's jump.
So risk owner is something that we always identify when we're doing risk assessments. So yeah, if you're a risk owner, you have to, maybe you even take place in some of the identifying risk brainstorming sessions. But primarily you have to find a solution, implement it, and make sure it doesn't break.
All right, what's next?
I think that this is a kind of a good time to talk about risk owners should also make sure that they're attributing to or creating a culture of risk awareness within the organization.
So everybody should, not just the risk owners, everybody should be aware of potential risks and be able to identify them.
I think that's a good way to put it. So I think when people feel like they're heard, when they're listened to, they're more likely to oblige and comply with whatever regulations there may be. They're probably more likely to report risk if they know somebody cares to hear it.
Okay.
So maybe you want to make yourself known as a risk owner. Some of the best stuff we hear about come from all of our staff, not just particular members of our staff.
Right, yeah, I mean, we're all responsible for identifying risk, whether you have a title that shows it or not.
So number 7, we're assessing risk potential and impact.
So this is the meat and potatoes. This is now that we know what risk is and we know who's in charge of making sure that it's assessed. This is the actual line item risk assessment.
Right. So why is this important? Why does this risk matter to our organization? How will it impact our finances? How will it impact our public image? How will it impact our quality of services? And not only how, but how big will the impact be? Let's think about if there's a computer without virus software. It's not on the network. My IT department can't give me support. They can't see what I'm doing. Well, they can't see if I'm leaking private information, maybe PHI, maybe private employee information, company financials. They can't see any of that. They don't have eyes on my computer.
So that's an impact to our clients. It's an impact to our callers, and that's an
financial strength.
That's an impact to our money.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean that could be crumbling.
So one problem may have multiple risk impacts.
We hear a lot about data breaches, privacy breaches in today's world. So okay, so let's move on to number 8. Come back to these risk assessments annually. So once you've completed your risk assessment, don't just never click on that file again. Open it back up, maybe 6 months later, check through, make sure that the solutions didn't break. Maybe it's not every 6 months, that's maybe too often.
Right.
But maybe it's just annually. When you're going to do your next risk assessment, take a look at the prior years, take a look at 2 years ago, and make sure that those risks don't apply still.
Right.
Before you start.
I mean, and take things off if they're no longer risky, but businesses grow and they change. Compliance Line is a different business than it was 2 years ago, with different people and different technology and different programs and different
software
avenues of business. And 2 years ago, we would have never thought to put, what's the risk of doing a podcast on our...
We didn't have
risk. Right, exactly. So your business changes, and you should make sure you're measuring those changes through your risk assessments.
I think that's a great way to put it. And not only that, but I think, as the years go by, we kind of think, oh, that was 3 years ago. We've taken care of that. We don't need to look at that anymore. But maybe it resurfaced. Maybe the solution broke,
Yep.